everybody, and welcome to another episode of Megan2Mars. This is episode 5, and the topic is rocket. Today, we're going to be talking about rockets, not the rocket engines. We're going to be talking about how the rockets get from where they're built to where they launch from. Now, with a few major exceptions, rockets are these huge feats of engineering that are built to go up once. Now, yes, the shuttle was partially reusable, and the Falcon rockets are mostly reusable, going towards complete reusability. And there's a few others that are up and coming as well, like the Shepherd, that are supposed to be reusable. But for the vast majority of rockets, these massive feats of engineering are built to go up once, like the Soyuz. And how they get from where they're made to where they launch from is really kind of cool, because there's all different ways. We use almost every form of transportation. Every form of transportation should include how the shuttle got from where it landed to where it needed to go again, which was riding on the back of a plane. Really cool looking, isn't it? So let's start with those that are assembled close to launch pad. They're assembled in a building, either horizontal or vertical. Depends on where you're assembling and which rocket you're talking about. They're assembled and then rolled out to the launch pad on these massive rollers. This is a picture I took at Cape Canaveral when I was visiting. May not be the best resolution one, but it's one I actually got to take. This is the building where the shuttle was assembled and then rolled out from. All right, so massive rollers on a track going from assembly to launch pad. That's one way. Another way. So one of the biggest, until the Falcon Heavy, the biggest, and whatever's coming after it, rockets we had were the Arianes for quite some time. And the Arianes have a very interesting trip. They start out life in Europe, and they go to the European launch pad in French Guiana. Depends on who you talk to, how it's pronounced. Anyway, they go from France and Germany, where they're built, all the way across the Atlantic to launch from South America. That's quite the trip, and they do it by taking riverboats, ocean liners, and when they get offloaded from the ocean liners, they get taken on a truck. Now, they're sealed in these containers. The parts are in Europe, sealed into these containers that are put onto the riverboats. They go down, they cross the ocean, and then they get offloaded onto trucks, which pull them, they're more like tractors than trucks, pull them to the assembly buildings where they can get prepared and taken to the launch site. Quite the ordeal. Takes a lot of work. They have to cross, a third? Not quite half. Probably about a third of the globe. I could look up the exact number. Whatever. So they take boats and trucks. The Soyuz, which launches out of a couple of different places, including Baikonur in Kazakhstan. This is a photo I took while watching a rocket launch in Baikonur. I thought you might find it fun. It's not very close for an iPhone to take a picture. However, we were only a couple of kilometers from the launch pad when it went up. It was really, really cool. This is the video. Anyway, while we're watching the video, the Soyuz, which is what that rocket is, has a really, really, really fun train trip that it takes. Starts out life in Russia, and it comes down on this train. Now, the process was created when Kazakhstan was part of the USSR, and a closer to equatorial spot that launched over water or open desert was needed to launch reliably into orbits, even into a Molniya orbit. But if you want to go into something that went not just over like Russia, using a Molniya orbit, which is what the Russians use for their uh, communications, which goes up and over, and it spends the most amount of time over a particular area of Earth and then comes swooping closer. It's a really cool orbit. We'll talk about orbits later in a different video. That one will require a few more graphics. Anyway, we have this train trip because they would build them up closer to Moscow or in Moscow, outside Moscow, and drive and take it on a train all the way down to Kazakhstan where they were launching it from. They would then upright it and launch it. Pretty cool. However, when everything split after the Cold War, the Russians maintained their launch site of Baikonur because it's how they would get up to their space station. It's also the only real site they had for launching the Soyuz easily. There's a couple of other military sites I suppose they could have used, but now they also have Yasny up in the north in Siberia, which I believe it also takes a train up to Siberia to launch. But yeah, Soyuz takes a train, Ariane takes a boat. And if you include the space shuttle, they also take planes. And all of them use either rollers or some sort of truck to get to the launch site. So we have ground transportation, we have rail transportation, water transportation, and air, all included in how do rockets get to the launch pad. All right, so like, subscribe, and send me any questions you'd like answers or topics you'd like me to cover.